This is the GT 710. This GPU was considered slow in 2015 when it first came out, and 9 years later, it is 1000% slower than integrated graphics. In 2024, you would get 10 times more FPS if you played games without a GPU. In fact, it is so bad, I can barely even run my fucking wallpaper at 24 FPS. In this video, I'm gonna try optimizing and overclocking this absolutely dog dookie graphics card to see if it can handle Fortnite or even anything, honestly. The first part of this challenge is finding an Nvidia GeForce GT 710. And I know damn well I'm not buying a new GT 710 because somehow it is selling for an outrageous 100 fucking doubloons. To explain how much of a ripoff this is, the graphics card I have right now is $400 US and is literally 5,593% faster than this glorified HDMI port that can't even run Google Chrome without overheating. So switching it out for one of these pieces of garbage will genuinely be a horrible experience. Unfortunately, I already own a GT 710. My dad got it for $30 back in 2017, and I was running Roblox at 720p 2 FPS for that ultimate high-octane dopamine gaming.
I swear, my last video was 100% not clickbait.
Dude, what even is that monitor?
Bro, what is this mouse?
Homeless people probably have a better gaming setup than this. And today, I'm just gonna throw all my privileges away. Goodbye to my $1,000 gaming PC. You will be missed. So, because this PC is unironically older than Fortnite, it actually struggled to even install the game. If you look at the minimum spec requirements, you need a minimum of Intel HD 4000 integrated graphics or an RX Vega 8 4000. And you guessed it, the GT 710 is somehow 3 times slower than this integrated GPU that you probably never even heard of before. But I noticed something strange. How can these be the minimum requirements when one of them is 4 times faster than the other? Fortunately, this graphics card is barely 8% faster than the HD 4000, so we might have a chance at being able to boot into the Fortnite main menu. So here we are at my dad's setup. I low-key feel bad for him. I think World War II bunkers had faster PCs than this. So the first thing I did was boot up the PC.
Wow, this is even slower than I thought it was gonna be.
I've never even heard of an i5 3570. I thought there was an i7 4770K in here the entire time. This 3570 is so incredibly slow. Every click takes 5 seconds to register. It's like I have 1,000 ping in real life. I'm about to crash out. And of course, we have the star of the show, the GT 710 with 2 gigabytes of VRAM in here. So maybe 240 FPS is not going to be possible. We started installing the Epic Games Launcher because the main point of this video is to see if there is any way we can make this GPU run a game. I then installed the latest drivers for the GT 710, and to my surprise, the latest driver was released this year, despite the fact that this GPU came out nearly a decade ago. So then I tried to start the Fortnite download, and of course the base game has to be 60 gigaballs. We need to free up 26 gigabytes worth of storage to be able to install this singular game. This was going to be a tough task, so to try and clear out enough space, I went to install Vtrol Optimizer to just quickly debloat the PC from a bunch of useless software. But guess what? My PC is now detecting viruses. I can't even install Microsoft Visual C++ without a virus warning. My Google Chrome is deadass more paranoid than 2017 Fortnite kids when they're top 3 in solos. Anyways, we still didn't have enough space, so sadly this meant that we had to download Fortnite onto a hard drive.
This was the hard drive that I used to use back in 2017.
Which not only meant that this download was going to take the entire day, but loading into the game would take forever too. And this hard drive ended up being even worse than I could have ever imagined. You might be thinking, oh, you played on this PC in 2017, it must be from 2017. No. This hard drive was from 2006. There is a 40% chance that you are younger than my hard drive. So I started the download at 2:30 and my future is not looking very bright. We averaged about 1.5 megabytes per second, which is literally nothing compared to the average internet speed in America. And let me remind you, the file is 58,600 megabytes. Putting this into a calculator, I found out that downloading Fortnite will take me almost 11 hours. Some light, nothing too crazy. To be extremely productive during these 11 hours, I spent the whole day playing Tomb Raider 2013 to get this gameplay on screen. So then I came downstairs at 8 PM just to see that we are 95% done and all my PC has to do is verify the files. Normally this process would take around 20 to 30 seconds on a Gen 3 SSD or newer, but this is a hard drive from 2014, which means it's most likely going to take 20 to 30 minutes. But boy was I wrong. I went out to play some ball for like half an hour to come back just to see 98%. This wasn't even funny to me anymore. I was actually about to lose it. When I came back downstairs to check on the download, we finally have Fortnite installed. It only took us about 8 hours, which was quite the relief. So with Fortnite installed, we are finally going to see just how well the GT 710 can perform without any optimizations. We were barely even getting double-digit FPS in the lobby, with absolutely nothing happening on the screen, but the FPS was stuck at 54. This was the most stable FPS I've ever seen. If you look at the FPS on my other PC, the numbers are almost never the same. But the GT 710 seems to do a pretty good job at being a completely unusable graphics card. So if you want to waste $20 on something, this might just be the move.
Like this is just horrible, bro. Like and this mouse, bro, it doesn't have side buttons. And then this keyboard, like we don't even start talking about the keyboard. How do you even use this? But yeah, this is basically just hell. So let's try and optimize this thing and see if we can get more FPS.
So I went back to VTroll Optimizer, mindlessly enabled all the optimizations, debloated and cleaned my PC, hoping for some better results afterwards. From 54 to 66, honestly, that was not nearly as bad as I expected. Usually, these optimizations work the best on mid-range computers like my laptop, where I got from 240 to 440, but a 12 FPS boost at this level is definitely pretty impressive. This was still pretty unplayable, especially for competitive players, and even for a casual like me, I feel like if you have anything less than stable 165, there's definitely a significant disadvantage. Either way, I had to try dropping the 3D resolution to 60%, as that would reduce the game resolution from 1080p to 648p. Even then, this decade-old dumpster wreck still got less than 100 FPS.
My bad, I'm eating right now, but I just realized that this is a side button. That is pretty useful. Oh my god, this is the other side button. Holy crap, this has 2 side buttons, bro.
You would think that's where we stop and give up and conclude that the GT 710 is straight up butt cheek water. And technically you're right. There's no universe where this is worth remotely close to $20, but we must keep pushing forward. I am not the type to give up this easy. I shut off the PC, unplugged all the wires, put it on the floor, opened the case, and gently ripped out the GT 710 from its home. You're mine now. I'm gonna have to put this back in my dad's PC before he beats me up when he comes home tonight, so we're in a bit of a time crunch. So I gently, aggressively removed the RX 6900 XT from my main PC.
Last time I tried taking out this GPU to put in an SSD, I broke the clip on my motherboard
By ruthlessly yanking it out and replaced it with the absolutely minuscule, average size GT 710. It doesn't even fit the slot. It doesn't even use the entire PCIe lane, and the bracket isn't even long enough to fill out the gap in the case. But as I like to say, personality is way more important than looks. Performance is way more important than aesthetics. So by pairing this GT 710 with a brand new 7600X, we might be able to witness the true power of Nvidia. But before we could do the GPU switch, there were definitely a few roadblocks. See, this is my first time swapping out a GPU. In fact, this was the first PC I've ever built. And without anyone to help me, I was prone to make a mistake. But today, I'm going to become a better version of myself. I'm going to tackle this challenge and get through it without breaking something. So I plugged in the HDMI cable because it doesn't have DisplayPort and got straight to work. I got everything working, but unfortunately we can only play at 1080p 120Hz
or 1440p 60Hz
because HDMI cables, especially the older ones, all have much lower bandwidths than DisplayPort cables, so they simply cannot transfer nearly as much data. Anyways, after applying the Nvidia optimizations from VTroll, we got back in and we're still getting the same FPS.
The GT 710 is at 100% GPU usage. Dude, it's at 52 degrees Celsius and 100% usage without even being in the game yet.
This was very confusing because now we have a much better CPU, so we should theoretically be getting much higher FPS. It's capable of pushing up to 1095 FPS, but we're just not seeing that type of performance right now. But after a quick overclock, I was very glad to see we were finally able to get 256 FPS at an unplayable resolution. Anything below 70% 3D resolution is a huge competitive disadvantage. I don't know how African Jeff plays rank like this. Little did I know, this was going to be the last time I used this GT 710. I overclocked it just a little bit more and my whole PC started freaking out.
And this GPU is super weak because normally if you use MSI Afterburner to overclock, it's pretty easy to just put your mouse back on the reset button and go back to your previous overclock. But with the GT 710, the second you go over the limit, it makes your PC unusable.
When I tried shutting off the PC and turning it back on, after logging in, it would start freaking out again and I wasn't able to undo the overclock. So I had to do what's necessary and switch the GT 710 back to the 6900 XT. But I ran into a huge problem. Again, nothing was posting, and after watching about 10 minutes of YouTube tutorials, the only logical fix was to unplug and replug the power connectors, and that seemed to do the trick. So back to the original question. Is it possible to get competitive FPS on a GT 710 with optimizations? Yes, but only if you're willing to sacrifice all of your pixels and your sanity. I will never be doing this ever again.